a gwine úsle fáilte go carraige nime go dtí an cileúra seo anocht. In 1958, 60 years ago, a week-long carnival commenced in Clondrohid, organised by Father Barry, or Peter Barra as we knew him, who was the local parish priest at the time. It was a week-long full of activity with a very wide variety. This included road cycle races, a fancy dress parade, a tug-of-war competition, athletics, which included sports and cross-country, a sale of work, a variety concert, horse trotting, nightly dances, etc. Highlight of the week, however, was the seven-a-side junior football tournament, which drew huge crowds to that famous field called the Inch on the banks of the Faharish River. Although there was no GA club in Clondrohid at the time, a team from the Carriganima area competed well in the Carnival of 1958, but we can talk more about that anon. Ballingeary were successful in 1958, 1959 and 1960. We have that winning trophy here tonight. In the 1960s, Kilmatra dominated, winning in 1961, 1962, 63, 64, 67 and 1968. A team from nearby Rainry won out in 1965, while in 1966 Neverbon Ballyvourney, captained by that great cock fullback Jerry Lucy, were successful. As I said already, those games drew huge crowds, and for the final of 1963 between Kilmatra and Kilmurray, as the gate receipts surpassed £50 with the admission fee of 1 shilling, the attendance was in excess of 1,000 patrons, a huge crowd indeed. Here also we have pictures of other teams who played in the carnival over the years. So, picture number 1 is of the Drumtariff team, which includes Tom Eaney and Mick Burns. So there we have Tom Eaney and there we have Mick Burns. So now, picture number 2 is of the successful Rainry team of 1965. And while the picture includes a total of 12 players, it's interesting that in those 12 players we have 3 sets of brothers: McSweeney's, Buckley's and Lucy's. McSweeney, Buckley and Lucy. And picture number 3 is of the Toonsbridge team of 1965, which I think also may have played Rainry. Now, while the Toonsbridge team includes 8 players, it's interesting that it also contains 3 sets of brothers, and there were Mahigans, Oldhams and O'Mahony's. So here we have the Mahigans, then we have the Oldhams, and then we have the O'Mahony's. So once again, some more photographs from the carnival. So picture number 1 is of patrons and participants in the fancy dress some 60 years ago. Yeah.
Right.
And picture number 2 is of a very attentive audience of females as they watch the carnival sports. And finally, a view of the famous Inch itself, as we have all hands on deck to prepare for the carnival sports. Also, it's worth noting the painted goalposts which were at the bridge end of the field. And if you look very closely, you can actually see the far off corner flag over by the river. So we have the goalposts here and they painted, and then we have the flag over here just by the riverside. Very significant when you think. So from that great all-conquering Kilmatra team, we move on to another competition that was added to the carnival. In 1967, Clondrohid, the home club, fielded a Junior B football team, and a competition for that grade was added to the carnival. The other teams involved were Ballydaly, Oban and Slán Rovers, all of those from the nearby Mill Street parish. Ballydaly defeated Oban in the final of 1967 before a huge crowd at the Inch played on the Friday night, while the 1968 final went to a replay, with Clondrohid eventually getting the better of a gallant Oban side. The final between Clondrohid and Oban, the first game was played on the Sunday night, and then because of a clash of other activities and fixtures, the replay didn't take place until November, and it was refereed by Ted Gallivan from Ballingeary. Tonight we celebrate those four great teams. So folks, tonight here at Carriganimma we celebrate those four great teams of 1967 and 1968, with many of them in attendance here. So for the next hour or two, we bring you pictures, songs, stories and memories of those great days of 50 years ago at Roigling. Lovely. Yes. Tá an dom cegus míle fáilte bhla a chuile gine a tá nocht, agus tásúla go méid sairíthe lá de sport, crack agus ceol agus céalta go léir. Friends, I'm delighted to welcome you all here tonight to Carriganimma, because 50 years ago in 1967 and 68, a Junior B football tournament was part of the carnival at Clondrohid. The four teams involved were Oban, Ballydaly, Clondrohid and Slán Rovers. Tonight we celebrate and recall all those great games, and we extend a welcome to all of those great players who are here with us tonight. Spare a thought for some who cannot be here due to illness or travel, and especially those who have gone to their eternal reward. We also remember Peter O'Sullivan of Oban, who was unable to attend due to a family bereavement, and he'd love to be here. It is worth to mention that when this carnival began in 1958, 60 years ago, one of the leading teams in that tournament was actually here from Carriganimma. Permit me to name some of the players who were involved in that 7-a-side team. The goalie was Tommy Goggin from Mullinahorna. The two full-backs were John Desmond from Coolicusan and Tuwig from Bonmoor. Midfield was Christy Goggin from Mullinahorna and Matt McAuliffe just from across the road. And the three forwards were Johnny O'Riordan, as they was calling that him. We'd know him as Shawnee O'Riordan, Billy Riordan's brother from Bonmoor, who went on to play for the Cork Miners and play for Macroom and win senior football championships with them. Also on that forward line were Dennis O'Mahony. He's now father Dennis O'Mahony, brother of John Mahony of Rahalisk. And the other man there was Michael O'Riordan of Derry Roo, who was a teacher in Monifluke. Now, I'd like to thank everyone who helped to organise this reunion. Dinny Lane, Tommy Tucker, David Tarrant, Donald Creedon, Frank Casey, Peter McSweeney, Michael Lucy, James O'Leary, and many, many more. I apologise if I have anyone left out. And of course, thanks to our hosts inside the bar who've been very good and very helpful. To Danjo, of course, for his LTV work, and Mutt Keller for his music. And of course, that man down there, Connie Reardon, he's going to organise a sing-song in a minute, he tells me. In conclusion, friends, 1968 there were much different times. There was no managers, there was no coaches, or there was no physios. We tugged off by the side of the ditch or in cars that were available, and we had some great fun and sport together. We sorted out our differences on the field. It was hard with some of the fellas before Harem. And it is great to look back and recall those happy days when we all played football together with a smile on our face. Enjoy the night, Bain Thang of us. Well done.
We should not let this occasion pass without remembering one of the greatest athletes that ever lived in Clondrohid Parish. I'm talking about Con Welsh. And his nephew, Neddy, is with us tonight. And Neddy has a medal that he won in 1906. It was for the Kick Fada competition. We have to go back to 1884, the founding of the GAA. Con was 3 years of age then. And the 25th anniversary of the founding of the GAA was 1884, and 25 is 1906, if I'm right.
That's right, yeah.
And remember, it is the Gaelic Association, and athletics were very prominent then. And in the All-Ireland final of 1906, Con Welsh won 5 All-Ireland titles. He won the hammer, and he won the 56 pounds for
the place kick.
Place kick.
He still holds the record for that.
He did. And it is the place kick we're concentrating on. He was within inches of world record in the 56 pounds over the bar and the 56 pounds for distance. And he was within inches of the Irish record for the hammer throwing. But he won the place kick, which was a leather football and a dead kick. And he kicked at a distance of 222 feet and 4 inches. And that distance was never beaten. He got a medal for it. And he was 25 years of age. He was a fine-looking man, and he had a bird below in Clondrohid who was
McDenny's aunt.
Right. And he had to go international then when he had won the Irish Championships. And in the following year, 1907, he was going to America to get ready to complete more things. So as a souvenir, he gave the Kick Fada medal to McDenny's aunt, who made it into a brooch. And Lord Percy McDenny, a couple of weeks before he died, he called you in one day Neddy, and he said...
That's right. He said, I've medal belong to your aunt. It belonged to your uncle. He said, he gave it to my aunt before he went to America.
That's correct. And he went to America in 1907. And he took part in many competitions in America, and he had fierce competition with what were called the Irish Whales. They were sportsmen from Irish, hammer throwing, weight throwing, long distance running, and they wanted to take part in the Olympics, but they wouldn't take part for Great Britain. So Flanagan and another fellow were the best in there, and he went to Canada and he represented Canada.
Yeah, and Con Welsh also represented Canada.
Con Welsh represented Canada in the hammer throwing in the London Olympics.
56 pound.
At 56 pounds. And if you see a TG Cahir programme, the Irish Whales, you'll see a picture of him throwing the hammer. And you would think 'tis your son Michael is throwing the hammer when you see him stretched down. Same build, same attitude. He came third, he got a bronze medal for Canada. Real story is, when the Olympics are on, the weight throwers are usually given the job of carrying the flag. And Flanagan, representing America, carried the flag. But first in going ABC was Canada, and Con Welsh from Carriganimma carried the flag for Canada. And as they approached the royal box, every team up to then had dipped their flags in honour of King George. But Con Welsh kept his flag upright.
Good man.
Well done. And it caused it would have been a lot more serious, only that Flanagan from Tipperary was carrying the flag for the USA, and when he came, he didn't dip his flag either. Flanagan came first and got the gold. The first, second and third in the hammer throwing were the Irishmen, and Con Welsh is now representing Canada, got the bronze medal. He did not come back to Mick Denny's aunt. He met a model who was also an actress in Canada, and he married her. Is that correct?
That's right, yeah.
Yes.
Like myself.
And he's buried, man, he's buried in Canada. I can't think of the name where he's buried, but he's buried in
It's
Canada.
somewhere in Seattle anyway. It's in Seattle, yeah.
But this medal, we want to show it in the camera and got what I've said tonight recorded, because it's an extraordinary story, and he was one of the first men from Clondrohid to get an All-Ireland medal, and be sure of it. Now, Jack, yeah, he got one as well, but down to Church Cross, in Church Cross, the man in the 1911, Jack Driscoll won an All-Ireland medal, and he won 4 Croke medals. He had county medals, and he had National League medals. He had a full collection of them. Some of you would know grandson of his, Harkin.
Pete Horgan, and John.
Shared Sale, Rohi Morantil, Harlesheshen. But that's why this medal is so important, because Con Welsh from Carriganimma won this, which was a record 222 feet and 4 inches that has never been surpassed, for kicking a dead leather football off the ground. Neddy, fair play to you.
Good, thank you.
With me now is one person who was a spectator in 1968 at a match in Clondrohid played between.
Go on ahead with that now. I was very young at the time.
Were you still in short pants?
I was still in short pants, is right. Very short pants.
But I was speaking to you yesterday. You said you remember being in Clondrohid in Matty Casey's Inch, and Clondrohid were playing Oban in the final. Is that right?
That's correct, yes, that's correct.
And you can remember Paddy Cockery sailing up the field there?
I remember Paddy going up the sideline and my father was there. He took us down, I suppose, at the time. And I remember Paddy was coming up the sideline and the man that was marking was trying to push him out over the sideline and we had to jump back over the sideline and I could hear Paddy's teeth cracking his head and he's passing us up. But he didn't go over the sideline though.
No, Christy, you're very observant, and you have sponsored teams since, haven't you? A local team.
We have sponsored a local team, that's right. Yeah.
And the local team is
St. John's. Yeah.
St. John's. But if you can think back to 1968 and the attire the fellas had then, can you remember the shorts?
Yeah, the shorts were very short at the time. I don't know what the shorts is on, they might be underpants or something.
But I can remember, that I won't mention any name, but there was one fella, it was hard economic times and everything was made full use of. And one fella was playing and the shorts he had on were made from a flour bag.
Okay, very good.
And you could make out some of the things, of the letters of Odlums in them, but they got them mixed up. And there was an ad for Odlums at the time which says, Odlums cream flour never varies. So, Christy, when you put Rings Garage on the shot, you're 50 years too late.
We'll have to think of another plan. Thanks. Well, my point. I don't know what I just said that yesterday.
Wait, I'll give you that point. Right, Jonas. I was a sub in Paddy Cockery's team, and it should be mentioned that the real story of tonight is that it's Paddy Cockery's golden jubilee, because it's 50 years since he was playing in the Carnival in Clondrohid. I can remember coming on as a sub against Clondrohid Rovers. He had some fella who was a soccer player and he was playing the ball along the ground, and whoever was on, he was a bit too tricky for him, so Paddy, come on here lad, and stay with him.
He was Mick Bennett, was that fella's name?
He was Mick Bennett,
Yeah.
from
Corkibs, or so, I think it was Cork. I think his son is actually playing for Cork.
His son, Alan Bennett, plays for Cork City now.
Well, his father was the Clondrohid Rovers, but he was legal. He was genuine. He was working for Buckley Stores.
He was working for Buckley Store, so that qualified him. He was near enough. Now, I can remember you playing, but very poor people. I can remember a man by the name of Trix playing with Slana.
Oh, Trix is in Australia.
He's in Australia.
Yeah.
Okay. Your thoughts, and then, can you remember much about it?
Well, Trix was legal.
Right.
Trix was in my class.
So the way you're talking, there were a number of people who weren't entirely legal, is that right?
There was a certain Patrick Cockery playing for us.
For you?
Yes, and I'm sure he won a lot of medals with Clondrohid as well. But
he won medals with Kilgarvan, and he played in the county afterwards.
Yes, but those medals should be taken off him now because...
well, no, we'll have to live with God. You'll sing a song later on?
I'll sing a song later on, yeah.
Right, I'll give you the mic now if you'll sing it.
No.
Thanks, then. No, I know more victims.
Okay, we all right?
Oh, Gary.
So, good evening again, ladies and gentlemen. With me here I have a few colleagues who were involved in the Carnival tournament in Clondrohid long ago, and the first man with me is my long-time friend and teammate, Peter McSweeney. Peter, you remember the Carnivals in Clondrohid well, I suppose, when we were playing ourselves.
God, I do, Paddy. There's some fantastic memories. They were absolutely brilliant. We played football strictly for the love of playing it, and we loved just to wear the jersey and go out there and play it.
Yeah. Well done, Peter. Could you remember any of the matches that we played?
I can remember matches against Oban, Ballydaly. I can't tell, but they were hard, but they were great fun.
But there were some great characters playing against us, Adam, from Oban and Ballydaly and Slannon Rovers. Can you remember many of them?
I can remember Johnny Lane, Christy Murphy, Murphy the Butcher from Ballydaly. A lot of them I can remember. I can still visualise them, but I can't put names on them. But they were great players, and what happened on the field stayed there, and that was it.
Well done, Peter, good man. So with me here also is Denny Lane, who was the team mentor for Oban at the time. He was the man we were trying to get the better of. It failed us most times. But anyway, Denny, what are your memories of the Carnival?
Well, I suppose they were good times, Paddy. You know, we had great old games, and they were a bit rough at times, but they were okay. I was always taking the bag. I never played very little of it altogether, but they were good games and enjoyable, I suppose, at that time. There was no black cards or yellow cards or nothing. I suppose it was a good job that they weren't, because they'd be all off at this stage now.
Good man, Denny. With me here also is Noel Buckley from Ballyvoskill, on the other side of the border to Clondrohid. Staunch Mill Street man, staunch Slannon Rovers man. You remember the Carnivals, Noel, in Clondrohid?
Yes, I remember them vaguely, Paddy. It's a long time ago, and my memory isn't as good as it used to be, yes. But I do remember the Carnivals, and I remember one particular match there against Clondrohid. I happened to come in the second half to play with Slannon. I think I was illegal at the time because I thought I was a senior footballer, and I had been playing with Mr. as well, and I was marking Sean White. Sean was getting old like myself, so we had a good bit of it. We had a good tussle, but we managed to survive it. They're great memories, and you organising this tonight, Paddy, you bring back a lot of those memories, and it's great to be that we're still alive and we're still around, and we're here to celebrate. And I did say to you when I met you when I came in that you're looking younger than you were then. I don't know how you do it, but it must be you're non-drinking. So. I'm aged because I do take a drink now and then, etc. I suppose. But going back to those times, Paddy, football was good. Football was a great crack, and you remember those great matches between Ballydaly and Oban and Slannon Rovers and Clondrohid. There were some great times, there were some great memories, and it's great to be still around.
You mentioned a few players there in Clondrohid, and you mentioned particularly Sean White. Sean White was a very good footballer.
He was,
yeah. Can you maybe elaborate and talk more about it? Because what special qualities had he? He was tall.
He was tall, he was strong, and he knew how to use himself. But when I met him, he was getting slow, and it was easier to mark him then. But if I did meet Sean in his prime, I know I would have some great difficulties. Yeah.
Good man. We'll move on to Denny Lane. Denny, you could talk about a lot of the characters you had playing and a lot of the characters you played against in Clondrohid.
We had a good few players. It's sad that a lot of them are not here tonight, you know. There was a lot of them that we tried to bring tonight. They wouldn't come for different reasons, you know, but we had a lot of great players, and I suppose they all enjoyed themselves, and they're like coming to the Carnivals all the time to Clondrohid anyway, you know, playing against the local lads. All right,
we'll move on to Peter McSweeney. Peter, you could tell us about a few fellas that you encountered in Clondrohid in the Carnival. A lot of rough tussles you had with him, of course, and don't be shy naming him.
Paddy, I'd rather not. I'd prefer to leave those things as they are.
Johnny Lane was a nice clean footballer, wasn't he?
He was, of course.
He was.
He was.
Frank Casey would hurt the fly, sir.
No. He just blow the head off one and tell you that you look better that way.
Okay. So next man I have here is one of the chief organisers with me, and the man I've been bothering with years to get this thing on the road, Tom Tucker from Ballydaly. Tom, you would have great memories from the Carnival in Clondrohid, no doubt.
Outstanding, very good. And all better than each other. And if players of a team won a final that time, it was nearly the same as winning All Ireland medal. And very well organised. And thanks to you for organising it. And anytime we ever came there, we enjoyed it.
Tom, he had a very strong team in Ballydaly that time. I remember now that your brother was playing. The Tarrants were playing, weren't they? Joe McCarthy played. You could remember a lot more besides that, of course.
Yeah, sure, all right. But you know, they had to go away on jobs and things like that. But it was great to be able to put out a team. And any time they ever played there, they enjoyed it, and that's what it's all about. Very well organised.
And of course, Tom, we sent back a very good footballer team from Carriganima, Tim O'Leary, living in Ratwan. Tim was a good player, wasn't he?
Very good, outstanding.
Yeah.
He played some great games for Ballydaly, great footballer.
Yeah. Well, Tim actually has a unique distinction. Tim has an All-Ireland hurling medal, won with the Cork Vocational Schools team. And also in those days, his brother Patsy was a member of our team that him in the Carnival. Also a great footballer. Yeah.
Thanks very much for the invitation. A great night and very enjoyable.
Not a bother. Of course, I couldn't go without mentioning my great friend and my great rival, Davy Tarrant. Davy, come over here to me 1 second. Yeah.
Go on, you football. Go on.
When Casey calls silence there for Connie Raven.
Hello. Can they hear me again? I started working for the Creamery the 3rd of May 68, which will be 50 years coming up. If I was still, I'd be there 50 years for the 3rd of May. It's a long time, but anyway, Mike Lucy and myself here pal together. But in the 5th of June 88, I started working for Clona, working for myself, working as a milkman, and I enjoyed every minute of it. I started at 1 o'clock in the morning and work all night. No wonder I got Parkinson's. But I delivered milk to a lady, she'd remind you of no one but Beth Lynch in Coronation Street. She was a sour old bitch. She was living out in Kilumney, and she used to get 3 pints of milk, a pint Tuesday, a pint Thursday, and a pint Saturday. She didn't know about Saturday. Con, can I have 4 churns of milk on Tuesday morning? Well, fucker, he said to me, what's wrong with her now? On my way back in the run was over. I hopped off the jeep and went to the door. Betty said, what's the story? Did you get my note? I did. Can you read? I can a bit, he said. And what was written in the note? 4 churns of milk Tuesday morning. What's the big deal? She said, Christ, I said, you only get 3 pints of milk. What the fuck do you want 4 churns of milk for? She says, you don't understand. I want to have a milk bath. Oh, I said, I didn't understand. I didn't know nothing about that. She said, can you get it? I can. I said, I'd put in the order now. And I go on. I said, do you want it pasteurised? No, she said, as far as my breasts will do. I'll do from there up myself. But for people that don't know me, we had the station at home. My wife is from Toronto, Canada. She's a very fancy lady. She plays a lot of bridge. Her nose is in the air a small bit. But we had a lovely extension put onto the house, and she had turkey for dinner, There was about 40 women, a couple of fellas. But God almighty, everyone I mentioned, to make the long story short, they all got the shits after. So I was inside in town, delivering milk. At 4 in the morning, I met Sean White going to the Adoration Chapel. That's where it started. It was the spring of 2010, and the stations they were on. This time it was done by Connie. It was not about Brother John. The house, it was freshly painted, and our extension it looked well, but there was a problem with the turkey. You'll have to wait until I tell. You see, my wife Linda, she got all her groceries in town, and she got a frozen turkey as well. And in my books, it was frozen, thawed, and frozen. So Linda couldn't tell. That's why they all got sick and their tummies fell to bits. In other words, they're not being rude. All I got the shits. Linda laid out her oval plates on the brand new oil, and all the local ladies arrived. Oh, they were in mighty style. We had Mrs. Giles from Toronto. She was a lady thrown in at around 18 stone. She had a low-cut dress. She looked really smart. The following morning, she was afraid to sneeze. And she certainly wouldn't chance it. But that's not the full story. I met her the following day in town, and she said, "Oh, Connie. Oh, Connie. I've goose pimples in my bottom from pulling my knickers up and down. And as long as I know Mrs. Giles, I never heard her curse." She said, "Fuck it, Con. I got to get to the Castle Hotel. I really don't know if I'm going to shit or burst." So that was called to Father Betty. My Father Wickham, he struggled on. By God, wouldn't the cooks hear about if it happened to Bobby, my brother John? He was taken to the regional and he was kept there overnight, and Dermot Desmond was his first visitor in an early morning flight. He came home the following evening and Daddy's okay. I met Father Betty myself. "Father," I said, "I'm fierce sorry for what happened, but I'm glad you're okay." "No, Con," he said, "I'm 1 inch to the Pope. And if I leave to you next station, but I live in your house, it'll be just a cup of tea." I turned to Peter Carer, my brother-in-law from Ballyvourne. At the age of 73, he was moving cranes from Liebers to Phoenix, that's West of Tralee. And he left Ballyvourne, he got a Dr. Pale. He put it down to Batleystoke or Appleton. He didn't know who to blame. Coming towards Killarney, he got a real severe dart. By God, he said this isn't the Batleystoke and it's the apple dart. But Peter kept on driving because Peter's a right tough skin. He had to stop and jump the ditch back at Brennan's Lynn. And when the release valve gave, Christ, he almost shot a snipe. And like Dean Sweeney Glenross said, "By gosh and by damned and by hell, and thanks to my sister Sheila that he had a boxer baby." I thought to myself, the evening of the station at 5 I had a show. I dressed up in the black pants and a white shirt. I was like Manuel from Faulty Towers. My job, it was simple, because I didn't point at the door, read the epistle at the mass, eat with the priest, get a bit early because I didn't make round in at 4. When I woke at 4 o'clock, I was feeling a bit under the weather, but you all know I had Parkinson's and everything in the morning, but that blasted thing was feeling under the weather. When I consumed a pint of milk and knocked the down working, and at about 10 to 5, I had a nice red rosy apple. Food I made at 5 to 5 with Sean White. And he'd go into the Adoration Chapel. "Good morning, Sean." "How are you, Sean?" I wasn't feeling great. My belly's in a roll. Good God, how's Nelly? As I left the house this minute, Nelly's just gone on the bowl. Jesus, Sean, is it the station food? What else can it be? Ring up Eamon Barry and see how is he. Eamon Barry, the man that brings the milk up every day. He was at UPS yesterday eating late. Linda gave him high tea in a beautiful cold plate. If he's sick, 'tis the turkey. Sean, Eamon is a big strong man. He comes from Fort Mac. He's a judo expert and he wears a belt. I don't care what he wears, ring him up. 087 851 8335. Brr, brr. Brr, brr. Brr. Hold on. Eamon. Hold on. You alright, Eamon? Jesus, I was back by your wife yesterday evening. Am I on loudspeaker? No, you're in silent. I had turkey there. I went to see my mother-in-law. That put me to bed. I wish I was dead. I failed to make the diet ball and metal shitty in the bed. Back to Sean White.
You have it in a nutshell. To the station food all right. Go home and check in Linden, make sure that she's all right. So I'd finish my deliveries and I go on from the run, and when I arrive at the front door I hear all the morning the toilet. Christ, I thought I was having another daughter or a son. And you all know my wife Linda, after 40 years of marriage, she still has that lovely accent, full up your can and oh my God. She's sitting on the bowl, her head is in the sink and her eyes are on her roll. Good morning, Linda. Oh my God, I'm so sick. Jesus, Linda, I said, a small bit of bad news. What is it? I met Sean White in town. He's sick. Lily's sick. Eamon Barry's had a shit in the bed. I don't feel great. You're sick. Lizzie Cressick, Coolwood Cressick and Lackney and people renowned. The people invited from Ballyvour and the people invited from down the hall are sick. She stands up. Knickers still do. She puts her arms around me. She says, Con, I'm as embarrassed as could be. I think I'm going to hiding. Christ, if we do that, she'll be like McGee. It's just a line there, wonder that no one didn't that right. I know Father Betty got an awful fright. Linda, to me you're a splendid cook. To me you're the best. The only mistake you made that you'll go back to Roaches and don't to bite the butcher and get the pocket thing fresh. Oh, Con, she says, I don't need the truth this other morning. Get me an ice pack, get me a cup. I put an ice pack on her forehead. I make her a nice cup of tea. I put her back into bed. I make her as happy as could be. I stroke her gently on the head, and she goes to sleep so soon. And I do what I'm doing for the last 3 years, sleep in the other room. Linda wakes at 4 o'clock. She's parched and very dry. Her body is shivering, and now she'll live with she die. Linda, you're all right. Oh, thank you, Con. Thank you. Thank you. Get me a drink of water till I rinse my mouth. And I go up the corridor. And Con, listen, get that carcass of the turkey and throw the fucking bastard out. So I take him to the front lawn. I lay him on the green. She roars from the bedroom window. Get him up the back where he won't be seen. My dog Bandy went along ripping it, whatever meat was on the bone. And who arrived in but my brother John, who lives alone. The dog started acting very strange with one leg in the air. Linda said to John, what's the matter with Bandy? What is this all about? You're talking, Linda. He's licking his ass to get the taste out of his mouth.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
first singer tonight now is from Clondrohid, Dennis Lucy. So here I hand you over to Dennis. Good man.
You'll find in history's pages heroes of great fame, the deeds they done, the battles won, how they made their name. But the boys who gave us victory and the orange, white and green were the boys who fought in Dublin town in 1916. Some came from Kerry, some from the County Clare, Dublin, Wicklow, Donegal, the boys from all Kildare. Some came from a land beyond the sea, from Boston and New York, but the boys who beat the Black and Tans were the boys from the County Cork. Cork gave us McSweeney, a martyr he did die. Wicklow gave us a Dwyer in days long gone by. Dublin gave us Patrick Pearse, McBride and Cathal Brew, and America gave us Dev to lead all Ireland through. We'll lead the boys from Kerry, lead the boys from Clare, Dublin, Wicklow, Donegal, the boys from old Kildare. Some came from a land beyond the sea, from Boston and New York, but the boys who beat the Black and Tans were the boys from the County Cork. We seem to be divided, I really don't know why. Glorious list of martyrs for Ireland's cause to die. Why not step together and join in unity? The north, the south, the east and west will soon make Ireland free. We'll lead the boys from Kerry, we'll lead the boys from Clare, Dublin, Wicklow, Donegal, the boys from old Kildare. Some came from a land beyond the sea, from Boston and New York, but the boys who beat the Black and Tans were the boys from the County Cork. Thank you.
Right, you're right. This is the Slannon Rovers national anthem. So we didn't win the tournament, because but my father used to be this is my father's party piece, and he's in the song as well. So it was about a woman that came back from America long ago, and she drove all the young fellas mad around the whole area. So it's called this. I'll take a view of the country through while I am young and airy, if you'll be my bride and be Mrs. Hyde instead of Miss Keneally. There's a hare on track over Curraback, of that I found out lately. 'Twould be better for him stay in his sæter hay than be watching Miss Keneally. Here comes John Mickey, stout and thick, and he goes back there daily to win from high his love and pride, this charming Miss Keneally. Reardon's Frank comes next in rank, he laughs and smiles so gaily, for he knew by fame he'd win the dame, this charming Miss Keneally. Here Headin spoke out again, saying, Blast ye, what is ailed ye? There are good men in the Corrad Linn, but I'll have Miss Keneally. Haley Dan is a fine young man, he goes down by Ballydaly. 'Twould be better for him mind his horny sheep than be watching Miss Keneally. And last of all comes Adraval, Ger Corkrino's going crazy. His lips in twist for to get one kiss from charming Miss Keneally. Oh. Who's next? I'll sing some song you can all join in. Are you all able to sing? All right, fine. Oh, how oft do my thoughts in their fancy take flight to the home of my childhood away, to the days when each patriot's vision seemed bright, ere I dreamed that those joys would decay, when my heart was as light as the wild wind that blows down the Mardyke through each tree, where I sported and played neath its green leafy shade on the banks of my own lovely lea, where I sported and played neath its green leafy shade on the banks of my own lovely lea. And then in the springtime of laughter and song, shall I ever forget the sweet hours with the friends of my youth, as we rambled along amongst the green mossy banks and wild flowers? Then too with the evening sun sinking to rest sheds its golden rays over the sea, the maid with her lover, the wild daisies pressed on the banks of my own lovely lea, the maid with her lover, the wild daisies pressed on the banks of my own lovely lea. Thank you.
There's one fair county in Ireland, memories so glorious and grand, where nature has lavished its bounty. It's the orchard of Erin's green land. I love its cathedral and city, once founded by Patrick so true, and it bears in the heart of each bosom the ashes of Brian Boru. It's my own Irish home, far across the foam, although I've oft time left it in foreign lands to roam. No matter where I wander, through cities near or far, sure my heart is at home in old Ireland, in the county of Armagh. I've travelled all parts of that county, from Newtown, Porthill, Crossmaglen, around by the gap of Mount Morris, home by Blackwaters again, where the girls are so gay and so hearty, none fairer in Erin Gabra. Ah, but where are the boys that can court them, like the boys from the county Armagh? It's my own Irish home, far across the foam, although I've oft times left it, foreign lands to roam. No matter where I wander, to cities near or far, sure my heart is at home in old Ireland, in the county of Armagh. About 4 months ago I was digging the land, with me brogues in me feet and me spade in me hand. Then I said to myself, what a pity to see such a fine strapping lad digging turf and trolley with me. Carry I o right fall the dalde. Carry I o right fall the dalde. I bought me brogue, shake hands with my spade. I went off to enlist the Congo Brigade. I said to the sergeant I want to join up, but says he, me brave bucko, will go with me. Carry I o right fall the dalde. Carry I o right fall the dalde. The first place they took us was out Farmer's Cross to a flying machine, sure we all climbed the loft. They tied us with chains like goats to a wall. We lofted the viaduct with feathers and all. With me carry I o right fall the dalde. Carry I o right fall the dalde. We were cruising along with the greatest of ease, so cosy and snug in our flying trapeze. Then me heart nearly stopped when I thought for a while what a drop we would get if she ran out of oil. With me carry I o right fall the dalde. Carry I o right fall the dalde. Way out in Katanga we safely touched down. We were thankful to God to be back on the ground. Then up comes this queer hawk saying, Muabuchu. Should I stuck out me chest saying, the same sir to you. With me carry I o right fall the dalde. Carry I o right fall the dalde. The bluebells were there, it was a frightening scene. They had faces as brown as the berries in steam. They wore feathers for hats and instead of a coat, then miggles of hair like the dingle cloth coat. With me carry I o right fall the dalde. Carry I o right fall the dalde. Now my 6 months are up and thank God it's not 10. I'll come back to Carragimna, we'll kick football again. We'll button our brogue, shake hands with our spade, and we'll say, slumber to you in the Congo Brigade.
As we gathered in the chapel here in old Kilmainham jail, I about these past 2 weeks, oh will they say we failed from our school days. They had told us we must yearn for liberty, yet all I want in this darn place is to have you here with me. Oh, grace, just hold me in your arms and let this moment linger. They'll take me out at dawn and I will die. With all my love, I'll place this wedding ring upon your finger. And we tongue love, for we must say goodbye. Well, I know it's hard for you, my love, to ever understand the love I bear for these brave men, my love for this dear land. But when Porrick called me to his side down in the GPO, I had to leave my own sick bed. To him I had to go. Oh, grace grace, just hold me in your arms and let this moment linger. They'll take me out at dawn and I will die. With all my love I'll place this wedding ring upon your finger. There won't be time to share our love, for we must say goodbye. Now as the dawn is breaking, my heart is breaking too. On this May morn, as I walked out, my thoughts will be of you. And I'll write some words upon the wall, so everyone will know I love so much that I could see the blood upon the rose. Oh, grace, just hold me in your arms and let this moment linger. They'll take me out to dawn and I will die. With all my love, I'll place this wedding ring upon your finger. There won't be time to share our love, for we must say goodbye. Oh, there won't be time to share our love, for we must say goodbye.
Thank you very much. Next singer, please.
There's a spot in the Desha, a place dear to me, where the comrades are keeping a watch o'er the sea, and afar I have wandered, yet wherever I roam, it's a place I love dearest, the place I call home. On the bridge I will linger at sweet eventide, just to gaze o'er the waters at old beside. Happy memories come stealing as the soft shadows fall on the fishing boats anchored beside the quay wall. Dungarvan, my hometown, I love best of all. Dear old faces and places, how oft I recall. In my heart I keep wishing that someday I will be back again in Dungarvan, my home by the sea. I have seen great fairs, there's places, but I'd rather be where the Colligan sleeping neath hills dear to me, and across the blue waters of that quiet little bay, dear old Helvig is dreaming in her bonnet of grey. I treasure each token of days that I knew in that town of sweet memories where friends are so true. And I thank God in heaven for choosing for me my old hometown Dungarvan, my home by the sea. Dungarvan, my hometown, I love best of all. Dear old faces and places, how oft I recall. In my heart I keep wishing that someday I will be back again in Dungarvan, my home by the sea. Thank you.
Right, folks. So before we start off with our next group, could we put our hands together and give a warm thank you to Murt Keller, his good wife, and his son for a fabulous performance of music there to us. Thank you, Murt. Well done. Well done. Okay. And